We're finally into October, and that means the first 3 quarters of the year are in the books, and Lexus is on a breakaway. All right, so Lexus is up about 12% on the year, which is a little bit behind the industry average right now. You know, they're still positive about 11% on the third quarter, selling about 75,000 units. But what they did in September is really the story here. We'll talk maybe a little bit about the LS at the end because they've actually improved it a little bit for the 2024 model year. But heading over to the Toyota press room here, the Lexus division is doing really, really well in September. Electrified sales are up 84%, and it's almost 29% of their volume, so almost a third of their volume, which is really close to what Toyota is selling as well, percentage-wise. IS, September sales up 13%. I don't know if this is a typo because they say June here. This might, because that June was in quarter 2. We're talking about quarter 3 here, so I don't know what's going on with this, but we're going to skip over that, and we're going to talk about their September. They had the best ever September, guys, of all time. If we look back when they were at their strongest in the 90s and early to mid 2000s, they're selling over 300,000 vehicles per year. They actually outsold their best ever, September, which is quite impressive. They also have broken the record for their most electrified vehicle sold in September, as well as setting records in September for IS 500, Lexus NX, Hybrid, NX Plug-in Hybrid, Total NX, RX Hybrid, RZ, which is this. I mean, this is the first September for the RZ on sale. Watch my RZ review. And RX Plug-in Hybrid, which is the first year that the RX Plug-in Hybrid was also on sale, just went on sale finally after about a year of us waiting for it to come to the market here in North America. Best ever year-to-date sales. IS 500, well, I think it's the first full year the IS 500 is on sale. NX Hybrid, NX Plug-in Hybrid, Total NX, RX Hybrid, RX Plug-in Hybrid, and RZ. Kind of like a reflection of what we just talked about. So I already did my Toyota update. And guys, make sure you are subscribed because I'm heading to Japan in 2 weeks from now to bring you guys the new Lexus battery electric flagship concept. This is going to be offering new software for them, new range of over 500 miles, totally new design that we've never seen before, as well as all the other Toyota and Nissan, Subaru, Honda, whatever else you can imagine, Mazda coming out of the Tokyo Mobility Show. I will be bringing it to you guys with David Chow from Automotive Press. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe. And let's get into the sales for the Lexus models here, starting with the IS. IS up 13% for the month, and year to date up 5%. So the IS is having a really strong year so far. RC, oh gosh, my heart goes out for the RC. Rest in peace, essentially. It's just a matter of time before they completely axe it and replace it with the Toyota GT3 concept, aka the LFR, which is more of a 911 fighter. It's going to be a GT3 sort of race car. It's going to be really expensive. But there's also talks coming out of Japan of a new RC LC sort of combination coupe to slot under the LFR for the masses. And make sure to watch that video because it's pretty entertaining and unsuspected. No one was expecting a new combined coupe of the RC LC essentially. All right, ES is down 3.4% on the month, down 10% on the year. No, we also saw, if you watch the Toyota breakdown, that the Camry was down, and the ES and the Camry share quite a bit, not as much as the Avalon, but they are both produced in that Kentucky plant. And so Kentucky having a complete reworking of the factory for their ramp up of battery electric vehicles or the ramp up of hybridized vehicles. So it doesn't surprise me that the ES is down on the month, on the year, and production for the ES will actually be going back to Japan in the next couple of years with the next generation. So what kind of Lexus will be built in Kentucky in its wake? Possibly the Lexus IS battery electric vehicle. That's what my gut's telling me. All right, Lexus LS down 42% on the year. It's essentially, it's just a shadow. It used to be the volume seller for the brand. when the brand launched in the late 80s, early 90s. And now the LS is just it's sad. That's all I'll say. It's sad. Down 13% on the year. LC up 150% on the month. They just weren't producing hardly any last year this time of year. It's up 34% on the year. The LC is the best Lexus in production. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It just costs $100,000, sometimes quite a bit more. So it's pretty much unreachable to the masses. The rest of the Lexus models, at least most of them, not the LS, but the rest of them share so much with the Toyota counterparts because they share platforms, they share powertrains. Just don't feel as special as they once did when we had V8 slotting in a GS, you know. Moving on to the Lexus crossovers, the little UX hybrid up 36% on the month, even though its powertrain is outdated and outpowered by things like the Prius and the Corolla Cross. But it is what it is. It's still selling well for them compared to last year. Anyways, it's up 20% on the year. Lexus NX. We just mentioned the best ever NX ever. And I honestly think if Lexus could produce the volume, the NX might be their best selling crossover. It might beat the RX. The RX has gotten so big and bloated, in my opinion. And the NX for me is like the perfect size. For most people, the NX is kind of the size of the first generation RX, maybe the second generation RX as well. So I love the NX's size. I like the looks over the RX. It's more affordable. It has the same powertrains besides the 500H on the RX, which it's very expensive. I'll just say that. So the RX plug-in hybrid is very expensive. The best RX out there is the 350H. And the NX, you can get the plug-in hybrid for kind of the same price as the RX 500H. And that'd be maybe even less money. I'd be picking the NX plug-in hybrid over the RX 500H every single time. Anyways, NX up 63% on the year, up 65% on the month. NX is crushing it. You know, that production compared to the first generation is now largely in Canada compared to Japan. So it's produced alongside the RX up there in Canada now. Lexus GX down 4% on the year, up 4% on the month as they get ready to come out with the new GX 550 that is just drop dead sexy. We'll be driving the new GX maybe in January. I'm not having, my wife's having a baby. We're having a baby in January, so maybe not be able to drive the new GX at the press event. Just depends on the timing of everything. Lexus LX up 400%. On the month, up about 100% on the year for the $100,000+ luxury Land Cruiser 300 series. So Lexus really gaining a lot of steam here with the best ever September. That means that they could have possibly record-breaking October, Novembers, and Decembers, getting ready for the December to remember. They could be crushing it. So I'm really excited for Lexus. Like I said, heading to Japan in just a couple weeks to preview their new flagship that could be replacing the LS. And speaking of the LS, Lexus is not abandoning it, even though they're hardly selling any, 100 a month at this point in the United States, improving the stability and the steering and ride comfort, which when this vehicle came out, it had better steering than it ever had before, but worse ride quality than I ever had before. Included the addition of a radiator support brace and the expansion of dynamic rear steering to all-wheel drive models. It looks like they've increased some of the active safety software there as well. In addition to improving rigidity with the radiator support brace, there has been increase in fastening in the front and rear suspensions, which supports load generated during steering and turning and input from the road surface. They've also reviewed the angled exhaust pipe support rubber, which suppresses the vibration of the exhaust pipe while driving. So maybe, the LS as we know it is definitely on its last legs. They're still not stopping to improve it and refine it. But, as a car that was always adhering to the spirit of innovation and bringing about change by providing new technology and value for the times, the LS is absolutely not that vehicle. There's not a plug-in hybrid of it. There's not an electric variant of it. And it's just no longer relevant at all in the global market, not in Europe, not in the United States, not over in Japan. So Lexus is essentially having to reinvent the wheel with the LS and coming out with this new battery electric concept that either could completely replace it or just be the next generation of the LS that is fully battery electric. It will be interesting. So like I said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. I got a lot more news for Q3 sales, total sales for 2023 on the other Japanese and Korean auto brands. I'll catch you guys in those videos, and signing out. Thank you for watching, and peace.